Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, The Week in Games. This is the weekly segment I do every few weeks to talk about, well, the state of the board game industry and how we can imbue ourselves into it. The fall is here. First day of fall, first week of fall. At the time of this video, this is the part of the year where gaming sort of tends to take an uptick. I think people kind of like get done with their summer projects. I watched a lot of people around do summer projects. It was exciting, and now I'm kind of back into a little bit more of a gaming mode. Things have settled down ever so slightly for now, and so I'm going to continue to do what I do best, which is, well, play some board games and yammer about them and get some great feedback. So finally had some time to do some reviews last week. If you hadn't noticed, it's been kind of feast or famine, and last week was a little more feasty than famine. So that's it. Let's get to the news. All right, up and coming. After doing a best 6 or 7 player board games, top games video a couple weeks ago, I'd mentioned then that Seven Wonders was a great game. Seven Wonders Duel was a great game, and that the one thing about Seven Wonders is it wasn't entirely easy to teach iconographically to a completely new gaming audience. I hadn't found great success with it. Well, wonder no more. Seven Wonders Architects is a game that kind of fits in the middle between Duel and Seven Wonders. Honestly, it's a little bit... I don't think that my core gaming group of Seven Wonders players would groove on it too much, but it is going to be something that clearly was made with an eye for people being... It's a streamlined Seven Wonders that's not quite Seven Wonders Duel. Perfect for me. It fits contextually with what I want to be able to play when I take it to the very, very casual gaming nights I have. But otherwise, you might want to look into it. You might not. So anyway, that'll be coming out later. Maracaibo, The Uprising, a brand new expansion for Maracaibo, coming on the heels of another top pirate games video I did last week. Maracaibo being in the top 10. Maracaibo, The Uprising, has you contending against European nations into the vast reaches of the Caribbean. It even has a co-op mode, which I'm looking forward to as well. And that's the thing about that Alexander Pfister is he does really good games. I like him solo, and I like him with multiple players. So, and speaking of Pfister famine. There's even another game coming out called Boon Lake from Alexander Pfister. This is pioneers left behind to build a new civilization and improve life. So knowing Alexander and knowing how much I like almost all of his games, rare exception, I think I'm going to be buying into that as well. And in the I never could have guessed this as a premise department, GMT Games, known for its wargaming and its historical simulations, is putting together a new game in its P500 list called Cross Bronx Expressway. It simulates the socio-economic processes of urban development and the human costs that result as a competitive city builder with collective loss conditions, whatever that means. Either way, I love when they find off the beaten path historical situations and create board games from them. I learn a lot from that. So those are the news items I have. Feel free to add anything new that you see that I might want to be part of, because I like to get news. And let's go to my question of the week. So here's a serious question that comes up quite often that probably you yourselves, anyone who's hosted games, have come across, where generally speaking, everyone asks, what's your rule on food and drink when hosting a board gaming event? This is a very common question, and I'm very consistent with the answers. I always tell them I like to eat a bit before the gaming starts so that I'm not having to worry about being hungry when I'm hosting it. And also, based on which friends are attending determines how heavily I drink beforehand. So, yeah. Thank you. That was a great question. So, all right, on to 3 games. Okay, first off, let's take a look at a game that I picked up on a whim called Mind Management. This is a psychic espionage game. It's a hidden information. One person's the bad guy or the good guy, depending on your perspective, And the idea is you are going around and you are trying to, well, let's just read the text. In this game, shadowy agents shape world events using psychic powers. Nothing is what it seems. Not only does the recruiter move in secret, but they have a whole army of immortals at their command. Can the other players find the recruiter and capture them before mind management wins the game and controls the world? He who controls the psychic spice, I guess. But we'll see how that works. I'll get that on the table probably in the next couple of weeks. As you see behind me, I got a Kickstarter called Titans a while back, and I didn't really give it much time at the time because there was a lot going on. Thank you, Ring. But now I am going to give it a shot, see if it's worth a review or not, or if I can just pass it on to the annals of history, into the dustbin. So I don't know. Next up is a game, Scream, Aim, Fire. Do a web search on that and you'll find a rock group called Scream, Aim, and Fire. And so I bought the rock album and the board game. No relationship, but I'll probably be using the two at the same time. So this is an interesting game. Its claim to fame is that it's just really low entry. So paper maps. It's a very narrow simulation. Yeah. There's just not a lot of pieces. Sometimes you just want a game that you just want to pull out, set up, and play. It's solitaire without having to go through 30 pages of mind bending. I'm more and more into the less mind bendy. So I'm going to see how it looks. I always like helping out little publishers, and we're going to give it a shot. J. Kirkpatrick. And finally, Marvel United. That's right. Clearance bin, grabbed it. Apparently there's other versions of it, but I thought for $9.95, I would give it a shot. Looks like a cooperative game with some cooperative elements that we've seen before. Whether it does them in a more polished manner and makes me love it or not, we'll find out. So, and with that, let's get to Tim Machine. All right, folks, let's harken back to the year 1995. Doesn't seem that long ago, and yet it was so long ago. Man. Yeah. Anyway, top story not couched in happy terms is the Oklahoma City bombing, which I remember from the news for several weeks, dominated the airwaves. The top movie was Braveheart with Mel Gibson. The top song was Gangsta's Paradise, which I know more from Weird Al's variant of it than I do the actual song itself. The book of the year was Politically Correct Holiday Stories by James Finn Garner. And I do vaguely remember reading that one and thought, that's funny. What did I play? Well, the big thing on the scene back then was Settlers of Catan, now formerly known more as Catan. Like Prince, apparently just needed to change its name to one word or symbol. What game would I have played then if I'd known now what I'd known then? Well, I would have definitely dived into Pitch Car. Pitch Car is a crazy good dexterity game, still one of the best, one of the most sought after at game shows for dexterity kind of games is Pitch Car. Woohoo! What game did I want to play? Well, I wanted to play Legend of the Five Rings. I just didn't find anybody nearby in the local audience that wanted to dive into it with me. Que sera. And with that, let's move on to the year 1996. This was the year when my first and oldest daughter was born. That would be why she was the first and oldest. Kind of goes together, but hey, a little extra tidbit for you, Logic Warriors. Top story that year was Dolly the Sheep, our first entry into human cloning. Still don't know what I think of that. So, yeah. Anyway, top movie was Jerry Maguire, I remember, with Tom Cruise in it. I watched it. It was okay. The top song was Hey Macarena, or Macarena by Los Del Rio, which to this day continues to haunt me and annoy me. The book, The 10th Insight by James Redfield. I have not read this book. I put it on my list to read. I just haven't gotten there yet. But if any of you guys have read it, let me know if it's worth your time. And what game did I play? This was the year of Netrunner. We had just, thing about having a very newborn baby is that there's lots of time to sit and wait for the crying to begin. And so Netrunner was my passion. The thing about Netrunner is that it requires an extra person. Thankfully, I did have someone nearby who did love Netrunner, and so we played a ton of the original Netrunner, like a ton of it. Magic the Gathering was cool and everything, but Netrunner was just, it was just right for us CD programmer types. What game would I have played then if I'd known then what I know now? Well, Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage. I got into that train a little bit late on that, but it's so smooth and such a great game and still holds well up after these years. What game did I want to play? Well, sorry, Netrunner. I wanted to play it over and over, and we did. We played it a ton. Yeah, so that's it. That's what we got for this week. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you are interested in, how your week's going, and if there's any interesting games I missed or you think I should try. I'm always up for hearing about that too. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.